When you were watching the Khabib and Gaethje, what'd you think after that first round? Because I felt like Gaethje got a lot of time on his feet against him. A lot of guys don't get that. It seemed like do not get as much time against Khabib on their feet.
Yeah, no, and I think that was the most surprising thing is we thought the striking was going to lean towards Gaethje's favor, yet Khabib, I think the manner in which Khabib fights is just hectic, crazy, fast pace. It's not that skilled. If you go back and watch the fight, there really wasn't a ton of strikes that were landed. They landed on Justin's hands. They landed on Justin's elbows, forearms. Like it wasn't like he hurt Gaethje numerous times. I think he just got Gaethje scared. And I hate using the word scared because I don't like to talk about the guys in my division.
Right. And like obviously Justin's not a guy who gets scared, but I know what you're saying, that energy in the beginning.
Or it's even like, who was I just talking to? I was talking to Brendan about it, I think. Like it's almost like if you get thrown into a scenario where you're just not ready, you can make bad decisions, And I think Justin Gaethje also just was making bad decisions on the ground. So I don't necessarily think Justin Gaethje is that bad on the ground. I think he just got there and he was just like, what do I do? This guy's nuts. This guy's a freaking mauler.
Yeah, he's like a rare snake, kind of.
Yeah, exactly.
They're like, why haven't scientists found this dude yet? It's kind of like it's almost like you would see him more on one of those like David Attenborough kind of like, the
David Attenborough,
the Russian anaconda. Then you would like it seems like he hasn't been discovered. Yeah. It's like, well, somebody test this dude he's like for reptilianism.
Yeah, or like 3,000 miles below the sea level. Like down there at the bottom of the ocean somewhere.
He's running on some old water for sure. When you're watching that fight, did you think at all, and I'm a novice fight watcher, I'm new into like just even absorbing a lot of what you guys' world is like, and the biggest reason is just because it's something that so scared me my whole life, like any like physical altercation, like never learned how to defend myself, never learned any of that growing up. Nobody even in my ear like, hey, just at least stand there and get hit, none of that. Yeah. So I definitely come from a place of fascination. Did you think when you were watching the Khabib and Gaethje that Khabib kind of let the first round happen? Do you feel like he could have finished it earlier, or do you feel like it just that the way it played out was the way it played out?
I think the way it played out was the way it played out because I think Khabib just was going and just turned it into a fight real quick, fast paces, and I loved it. He just fought with reckless abandon, and this is a guy who's undefeated. Most of the time, you see guys who are undefeated protect that record by fighting a little bit more. A little bit more timid or a little bit more diplomatic, a little bit smarter, if you will. But he went in there and wanted to get into a fist fight with the craziest striker in the division.
Who would you, was there a rather where you're like, if you started to think like, who would I rather fight?
My answer to that is I would love the idea of fighting both of them. But at that point you have to fight Khabib just because he's the number one guy.
Oh, wow. Really?
Yeah. Because if you're going to fight, it would be better to have a 12-week training camp focused just on Khabib, obviously, when you have the opportunity of a lifetime to beat an undefeated fighter, the best fighter in lightweight history, and get the world title. But for me, you got to take the opportunities when you can. They don't just hand out UFC, title fights like it's nothing. So for me, it would have been Khabib just because I would have had the opportunity to capture the belt that night. And a fight with me and Justin Gaethje is going to happen. Just like I said, a fight with me and Poirier is going to happen. These fights are going to happen. But so if you had the opportunity, and we all knew Khabib, we didn't know he was going to retire that night, or at least say he's going to retire. We don't know yet. But I thought for sure he's going to have one, maybe two fights left in him. So I want to get that fight before he retires.
I would not want to get that fight, but that's different mindsets, man. Now, when you're there and you're in that environment, is there a level of royalty that kind of precedes and surrounds Khabib that doesn't surround anybody else in a way?
No, I'm not really.
Not that you're thinking of, but do you feel, is there anything like that in the air? No, I'm just wondering.
Well, he wasn't there that much, to be honest with you. Like, I saw Justin Gaethje a couple times. His mom and dad were there, his brother looks just like him. They're all from Arizona. They're kind of doing their thing. Man, me and Justin Gaethje are very similar, man. Small town, blue collar, wrestling families. Like, it looked like my family walking around if we were in Abu Dhabi at a hotel somewhere. So he was there. He was present, and he was seen a lot. Had a couple conversations with him or his team or whatever. Khabib was nowhere to be found. Khabib had like his own training facility. He had his own hotel. He had his own everything. He showed up in armored cars and motorcades and helicopters and all kinds of stuff. So he is like royalty over there because it's the Middle East. It's close to Russia. He's Muslim, so he's like royalty. So there is, but for me as like a red, white, and blue blooded American, I'm like, this is silly, man. You know, it's like whatever,
Right.
It's so, but you got to respect it. Now, I don't want that to come off like I don't respect him. Like I respect him a ton as a competitor inside the cage, what he's done, his accomplishments, plus winning his last fight after the loss of his father and all that kind of stuff. I respect the heck out of him for that. But for the most part, it was like, it's just like, all right, bro. And I don't know, he showed up. He looked like a skeleton at weigh-ins. He looked like it was questionable whether he even made weight.
Wow.
And you're just like, dude, be a professional, make the weight, show up with your chest puffed out and a smile on your face, do your job. He would
There's a video where it says it looks like they didn't even check his weight, kind of.
Supposedly they did,
Did you, I mean, does that seem normal to you? Did it feel?
I mean, I will say Daniel Cormier brought this up, and it is true. At the hotel, I had to step on the scale, and I weighed 154.9. And then they said, okay, you can get on the bus. So if I was 155.2 or whatever there, they might have been like, no, you can't get on the bus until you cut the weight. Then again, maybe Khabib was like, I'm right at 155.1. By the time I get over there, I can float 0.1. Maybe the scale, it's a lot of times your balance scales, those old school balance scales are a little bit more lenient than your digital scale, because the digital scale will tell you point, boom, whatever it is.
Right.
The balance scale, all they have to do is have a little bit of daylight, and you're technically in there. So there's almost like a 0.2 swing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, he stepped on the scale. It was going up. They swiped it, but it's,
it's conspiracy theory.
Yeah, I mean, it's man, they've been doing this for 26, 27 years. There hasn't been many controversies, so whatever. It wasn't meant to be for me to step inside the cage tonight, nor would I have. If Khabib didn't make weight at that moment, he would have got time to cut weight anyway, so I wasn't worried about it.
Good evening, good afternoon, and other times. Thanks for watching that video you just saw. I mean, it was okay. But the next video you could watch could be way better. What if you watch a video right now that changes your life? Well, you could. Watch this one. Or watch this one. Watch this one. Watch this one. Watch this one. Ah!